Today, you're going to learn the 5 most important pages on your church's website after your homepage. For example, did you know that your staff page will likely be one of the most highly trafficked pages on the entire site? It's true. And in this video, you'll learn what each of these 5 pages are, and I'll show you how to structure them and what to include on each page.
Well, hey there, and welcome to Pro Church Tools, the show where in 10 minutes or less, you're going to get a dose of tips and tactics to help your church share the message of Jesus while we navigate the biggest communication shift in 500 years. I'm your host, Alex Mills, joined as always by the boss man, Brady Shearer.
Saw a couple questions come through this week, Alex, through a couple of different channels, the DMs, the email, some Facebook groups, asking about the most important pages every church website needs. And so I thought it would be a good time to do a little bit of a refresher. We've covered some of this material before, but do a bit of a refresher. Beyond the homepage, what are the most important and essential pages that your church website needs? Let's start with page number 1, the Plan a Visit page. This is the page that we suggest you create specifically for potential new visitors. There are a number of different sections that you can include on this page. 3 particular ones that I would include. The first is the What Can I Expect section. And your church website does a great job of this. I went through it just recently, actually, talking about, okay, if you've never been to our church before, here's kind of what a service order is going to be like.
Right. Yeah, you know, a lot of us have this misconception that church websites are for our church people, but most of your traffic is going to be people who are looking for a church locally in your area. And so when people land on your website and they're considering coming to your church for the first time, this is a great page to display and say, hey, you want to come and visit our church? Why don't you have a look at this page? And like you said, break down what your service looks like so you can set their expectations, and then even maybe include a form where it's like, yeah, I'm planning on coming this Sunday. You can, tell them how many kids you have, and then they get put into a workflow where you can follow up with them and say, hey, we noticed you're planning a visit this Sunday. You have kids. Here's our kids' check-in process. So you can make that point of contact with somebody before they even walk through your doors.
And one final extra touch you can make is to include a welcome video on the Plan a Visit page. We did a recent episode where we highlighted a church's welcome video. We'll have that linked in the show notes. So if you're curious about what this welcome video could actually look like, make sure to watch through that video. It does an outstanding job of portraying to your potential new visitor what a Sunday experience is like. It's one thing to watch a service, but this goes even one step beyond that to show the entire experience from parking lot walking in to parking lot walking out. So that's the first page. The second page is the About page. 4 sections that we like to include on the About page. The first section is who we are. Second section is called Where We Come From. Then we go to Where We're Headed, and we close out what this means for you.
Nice.
The About page follows a specific flow. It starts by talking about you, the church, and kind of the origins, and then where you're headed, and then it kind of turns the table onto the potential visitor. How do you fit into this story? Because at the end of the day, even the About page, which is very, very centered upon the church itself, should be about the people that are going to be coming to your church. It's not about you and the staff and even the history of the church so much as it is about where we're headed and how you can be a part of it. And that does a great job of inviting people into the story, and that's what you want to do even with the About page.
So good. This next page, many people are shocked to know that this next page we're going to talk about is one of the highest trafficked pages on any church website. When I looked at the behavior flow for our church website using Google Analytics, I could not believe how many people were interacting with this next kind of webpage.
You said it was like the 3rd most popular
It's our
page?
second most popular page,
After the homepage.
Yeah, so landing page, which I don't really include. So landing page, About Us, and then staff page.
The staff page. The staff page, people love this because obviously people want to know, they're curious about the leadership of the church. What can I expect from this pastoral team? What can I expect from this leadership team? And so what we love to do with the staff page is make it very, very personal. What I see on a lot of church websites with their staff page is everything's written in the 3rd person. So the bio, let's say, pertaining to the pastor and their family. It's all 3rd person.
You can tell it's written by the communications director.
Yeah, exactly.
Pastor Rick is married and has 3 kids and 4 grandchildren. He loves to kayak on a summer's evening, and he would love for you to contact him. And it's like, why can't you just get Pastor Rick to write this so that when I actually do reach out to him, I feel like I've already had an interaction with him and not some robot that typed a 3rd person bio about him.
Exactly. The two things that we encourage your staff page to include are, number one, some really professional looking, smiling photos.
Yeah, headshots.
If nothing else, just like smiling, warm photos. If you want to include the family along with the pastor or the leader, hey, go ahead. I think that's an interesting and good idea too. And then write the bio, write the quote, whatever it is, in the first person.
Yeah.
Have each of the leaders, each of the pastors, each of the individuals on staff write their own bio and share something from the first person. It adds an extra level of personality because each person is going to write something in their own verbiage and own words and own style that will be different from all others. And of course, because it's first person, it's more intimate, it's more one-to-one, and it doesn't seem so corporate and PR focused.
Yeah, I think what people are looking for out of a staff page, and this is something I'm learning, is that communities often reflect their leadership. And so people go to the staff page, and this was surprising for me because I've been a church person my whole life, and so I'm never really concerned with staff pages, but we're finding with first-time visitors who are looking at our church website, they want to know what the staff looks like, and I think it's because they want to know, they get an insight of the community based off of who the leadership is and what they look like. So whether it's, a certain race or a certain gender, they can see the leadership, the staff of the church and say, oh, they look like me, or they look diverse. And maybe that's insight into what this community looks like and how it functions.
I think that's a great point because we do the same thing with restaurants. You can look online and see a picture of a restaurant, like, oh yeah, that looks like the type of restaurants I go to.
Yeah.
And so again, here we have another great example. It's the staff page. There is really no other page that you could make more about your church because it has to be populated by the literal people that run your church. But its main purpose and function is for a potential new visitor to look at the photos, to read the first person quotes and bios, and then say, yes, these people are like me, or no, they're not. So again, it's always about the other. You think it's about you, but the more that you can flip the table, flip the script, and make it about the other people, the people you're trying to serve, the better you can serve them. Number fourth page you need to include, and these aren't in any particular order per se, is the kids page. This page is particularly centered around those people that are going to come to your church who have kids. What does your church have to offer those kids? How can your church serve those kids? 5 simple sections we recommend you include on this page. Section number 1, your first visit. Similar to the what can I expect section on the plan to visit page, but what is it like for kids on that first visit? Number 2, how does the check-in process work? Number 3, is there a parent's viewing room? This is for those kids that don't necessarily fit into kids ministry. They're probably too young. What do you have for them? Number 4, meet our kids director. Similar to the staff page, really imperative you include this on the kids page. Introduce the parents that are going to give their kids away to the person that's in charge of watching over them.
Establish some trust already.
And some rapport. Have a visual so that they recognize that person already. And then number 5, got questions? This is a great section to conclude the page with. Invite questions because you probably missed something.
And take that opportunity to, preemptively address some objections, maybe, put those to bed and say, hey, I know you're probably thinking this. Here's our answer. So you can get rid of those objections when people are deciding, are we going to go to this church? Are we going to give it a try? You can address that stuff on the website.
The final page, it's multiple pages included in one major section of your church's website, which is the sermon engine, the catalog of how you archive your messages, display them, and distribute them to the world. The previous 4 pages on this list were primarily for potential new visitors. This is a page that will, of course, serve potential new visitors well, but is going to be the likely number one reason why people come back to your website on a recurring basis, because they want to engage with the content. If they're not already subscribed through a podcast or through the YouTube channel, they can view it on your website. We like to organize our sermons in playlists, so that way you can organize by series, you can organize by speaker, you can organize by topic, you can organize by time of year or year overall. We call those playlists. The 5th and final page. If you're wondering how we would organize these pages, what they might look like, we actually have put together a free download. It includes 7 different pages on your website that we think that you should include. So even 2 more we didn't include in this particular episode, and they have pre-written copy that I welcome you to copy and paste. I know
go
that
ahead.
You've used some of the copy that I've written on your website. Just replace the placeholder names and service times and the like, and you can download that. We'll have that linked in the show notes. It's the featured resource for this episode of Pro Church Tools, and that'll do it for this episode. We'll see you next time. But before we see you next time, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss another video.
And please go ahead, smash that like button, give it a like.
We gotta get to 1 million likes.